Welcome back to the Corrective Culture Podcast. How are you going today?
I'm going very, very well. I'm enjoying starting my morning with you two boys.
Yeah.
Nice and early.
So we're with Anthea Todd, and it's funny. My sister actually sent me a page, and she's like, "It's funny how you see people like their different sort of approaches for things." And she's like, "Yeah, she's this girl that like goes skateboarding, and then talks about like women's health stuff." And it's weird how it just even like obviously the information's good too, but just the fact like the skateboarding aspect like makes you look at you more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to like, I don't know, just sitting behind a computer screen talking about it all the time. Like,
And it's much for me when I skate, I don't know, it just like comes through me. Like it's much easier for me to verbalize it versus if you're sitting behind a computer and you're like, oh, this and that, it feels a lot more stilted.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I just like it just came about. It wasn't planned. It was sort of just like, oh, okay, this is fun. And I'll talk about the thyroid or I'll talk about heavy periods or I'll talk about Ozempic or I'll talk about something behind my skateboard. So yeah, people seem to love it too. So it's good.
Yeah. So I guess the first question I like to ask people like in your field or the health field is like, did you have a crisis that got you into that, or did you just get into it purely out of passion into the work?
I'd say probably a combination. So both my parents are chiropractors. I grew up in a holistic sort of household. Grandma was a naturopath. Grew up fascinated by the body. Like I would go on family holidays and I'd wake up early and my dad would be teaching me about the anatomy of the ear.
Cool.
Like I just
Oh shit.
love it. Like we'd be walking down, like, see this person, they've got an L5 nerve root lesion here. Or so I just was always fascinated by the body. I've loved it my whole life. So yeah, I started out going, oh, do I want to be in medicine? Do I want to be in chiropractic? Because I also was obsessed with Grey's Anatomy at the time. It was coming up when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I realized, oh no, I want to help people before they get to the stage that they need medication or surgery and don't really love the lifestyle of a shift worker doctor. So chose chiropractic, absolutely loved it. But then I started seeing people that were like, I've got heavy periods or I'm losing hair or I can't lose weight no matter how much I try and I starve myself and exercise or just all these different things that weren't necessarily chiropractic based. So I'd refer them off to their doctor and their doctor would most of the time say, your bloods are fine, everything's okay. And I'd be like, there's something going on and I need to learn more because I'm always fascinated about the body. So I'd always be podcasts, books, textbooks, learning more. And then I went on and studied a dual master's in women's health medicine, reproductive medicine, functional medicine, and then energetics too. And the energetics part is probably to your first question of, was it a personal health crisis? I think that aspect was probably more so personal. I think when I was younger, I actually was diagnosed with a heart condition. So I had 3 heart surgeries when I was around 13 to 15. Basically, I was doing surf life saving nippers and my mum was aged. Pardon?
You cut out for a little bit there. I'm not sure why. Every like maybe minute or so, it'll cut out for a couple of seconds. But I can hear you now.
It's all good.
Yep. All right, go for it. Yeah.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was diagnosed with heart conditions when I was 13 because my heart basically was like beatboxing.
Right.
It was going way too fast without me like doing anything. So, multiple surgeries doing that. And then, when I started working, I started getting really bad cystic acne.
Okay.
And I tried like everything. The cleansers, like all the medical, the functional, the energetic, anything you can think of, I probably
Really?
tried it, cutting out different foods, going, okay, I didn't try like Roaccutane. I couldn't bring myself to do that personally for me. But like acupuncture, Chinese medicine, different topical things, natural stuff, cutting out things, adding things, like just, nothing really seemed to work until funnily enough, I published my book and my book was like around that time, my skin was probably the worst it had been because I was so super stressed. Like I was just burnt out. And then one day I was just like, you know what? It's funny because my book's called What's My Body Telling Me, which is hilarious. But I was like, what is my body trying to tell me? And I was so like frustrated and annoyed. I was like, what the fuck is my skin trying to tell me? Like, I'm just like sick of this.
Yeah.
I've tried everything. And I was like, okay, what happens if I come from my body? And I go, okay, what's my skin trying to tell me? If I was my skin cell, what would it be screaming at me? And it was like, I'm so irritated. It was like screaming at me. Okay, what are you irritated about? Just being curious. And then basically I just like cut those things out of my life instead of cutting out like gluten or alcohol. Obviously those things do impact it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cut out these things in my life that are irritating me and just focus on the things that make me feel alive. And then my skin cleared up.
Really? And what did that
So-
look like for you? If you don't mind, like saying what you were cutting out, you don't have to name a name if it's a person.
Name a person. Oh, I've seen witches. I've done lots of crazy things where they like cut cords and all the stuff.
Yeah.
It's mainly what it looked like literally on a daily basis was choosing what felt most alive to me. I'm like, okay, what's the more alive decision? As small as, do you want sparkling or still water when you go to a restaurant? I'm like, yeah, sparkling feels way more alive to me. I want sparkling. Or, okay, yes, you said you're going to get up and go to the gym and do these things. Like maybe today, yes, that does feel alive. Or no, I'd rather go for a surf. That's what I'm going to choose. So it was really just listening to my body and going, what feels more alive? Or it could be setting a boundary. If we think about energetics, it's your skin is a physical boundary of your body. So often it's like, you're not setting good boundaries with people or yourself in your life. And for me, it wasn't good boundaries around work. I had a tendency to overwork. But it was really just going, instead of biting my tongue, I'd express myself. So then my body wouldn't express it, coming out in different ways. So yeah, it looked different, but the question that I asked myself that really made it shift was what feels more alive in this situation? And that's what I chose.
That's
So-
cool. Sounds woo-woo for a lot of people out there, when you talk about like emotions being so heavily linked to the gut or the skin or something like that. And it's the more I go into it as well, it's so like I spoke to a friend yesterday and he's like, I was just in a bad relationship and I had the craziest back pain, and because it went away when I got out of it.
Yeah.
Because
It's
we
so-
know, hey, like deep down we know what
You
we're meant
do.
to do, but we just, for some reason, our trauma or our layers on top of it don't allow us to have the spiritual courage sometimes to like step out of things and into new things.
Yeah. And sometimes it feels like confusing. And if you second guess yourself, you
Yeah.
don't trust yourself. And that's like where I talk with patients and myself. Like if I think about the energetic way of looking at your body, I'm like, if you can connect to your body and trust it, those are like the two foundational building blocks of your energetic health, because there's so many people, oh yeah, I'm into the energetics, all the things, but then they don't trust themselves to like make the decision or trust that it's going to work out. So then you do stay in the relationship where you go, oh, maybe it's in my head, or like that stuff starts to come about. At the moment, actually, I've started to notice I've got this like rash coming out on the top of my back, and it started coming out around COVID time when unfortunately there was I lost a couple of my friendships all at one time. And I'm like, oh, it's interesting that started then. And now it's like coming out now. I'm like, what's my body trying to tell me with this? And because I haven't changed anything else, like nothing in my diet, nothing in my like detergents, like environmental stuff. It's like, oh, okay, like who's watching your back? It's like that's what like the message that it feels like it's telling me at the moment. So I'm like, okay. So like every morning I say to myself, I'm like, don't worry, I got your back.
Yeah, nice.
So it's like, it's just listening to those little whispers. That's what I love. And it's so, yeah, I think when you do it and you just trust yourself to do it once and you see that it works, you're like, oh, okay, my body's actually amazing and I can listen to it in this way.
Yeah, it's like we've spoke about before. There's like soul connection drills that we've like Paul spoken about, where you get still for a little bit and then you ask your soul, what does it feel like when you say yes to me? And you ask it to do that 3 times, and then you say, what does it feel like when you say no to me? So you start to get practicing what you're talking about, and you start to do it with the superficial things. So like you said, sparkling water or still water, beef or chicken, whatever. There's always a right? And you can see when people are disconnected from a little bit. Like I'm with I got a new roomie and he's a pretty young dude. He's like, 22 or something for a man that's a boy, you know, and he just has like chicken like 5 days in a row. And he's like, and then he had like the mee goreng and what did he have the other day? Mee goreng and added chicken or something to it. He's like, I mean, I could just have chicken every day. And it's like, but then he was telling me how he was craving steak. But I was like, oh, okay, so you want steak, but you're getting chicken, you know?
Yeah.
For some idea of lean meat and muscle and shit that you get into when you're that age, you know?
Yeah.
Of like trying to look the part.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the drill. Like it sounds like you're doing that with those small things, and then that we always talk about then you do it with the big things, the big things in life. Like, do I want this job? Do I like this person? Do I want to go here? Like whatever it all is, because there is that deeper truth that's like always there. It's like and that second guessing yourself. It is nice when you do start to trust that. Like I remember like I was seeing this girl for a little bit and my heart was like, nah, you know, like they're good on paper and to the other outside world, but my heart was like, no, you know, like I didn't get an uplifting feeling. And then I remember when I ended it, I was like, there was a bit of like, oh, should I have? But then I was like, nah, it's always been right. And then like a month later, I was like, oh, that was right. Like I feel so good now, you know? But I definitely try and do it as much as possible with movement, definitely. Because it's easy for us to overtrain. Like a lot of guys and people, it's easy to undertrain. They'll be like, no, I don't want to go to the gym. It's like hard for us to not go to jiu-jitsu, go do a workout and whatnot. And like, I know whenever I break that rule, I get like a flu, you know? If I overtrain, I'll get the cold 100%. I'll get some form of forced rest. It'll be a cold or some little minor injury that makes you have to chill out for a little bit from the universe, where it just forces me to stop. And I've had to learn that lesson so many times, where it's like, oh, I don't want to work out and I'm just going to do it anyway. And then I pay for it. But yesterday I was drained, but I come here to work out and I just did weight moving through the body. So I just did cable work, some postural stuff. And your nervous system doesn't get depleted from that, but you feel really good. And then therefore you're almost cultivating energy because now it's less energy to move through space because I just did like a full postural workout and it was so nice. Better. Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts? I'm curious on people that wear like biofeedback devices like Whoops, Aura Rings.
Well, I actually have an Aura Ring. I haven't worn it in a few months, but I think to be honest, it's accurate to how I feel, I find. But more importantly, I think for some people it gamifies the experience to be better. So like I want a good score, so I'm going to go to bed 9 hours tonight instead of 6 hours like I usually do. So there's benefit in that, and there's benefit in people seeing, oh, okay, when I was up all night last night, it took me this long to fall asleep, or when I ate sugar, my resting heart rate was up by this. So it's cool to see the patterns, you know, because it's cool to see the resting heart rate and variability because it's pretty accurate, I find, with my training and whatnot. And it is accurate in how I can wake up in the morning, I can feel, oh, I need a rest day today. And it sort of tells me that too, you know? So for the people that need to gamify it, it can make you make better choices, you know? But I definitely have the one that has the no Bluetooth running through it and, you know, you put it on that airplane mode at night.
Yeah.
It can initiate the connection to the body and then you can take it from there for some people. What's your thoughts?
That's what I think. Also, I had a Whoop. I don't wear it anymore, but I find it interesting to see. It's like, oh yeah, if I did have a drink of alcohol, it's going to impact my heart rate variability by this. Or if I did have the sugar or I didn't sleep like this, I think it's really helpful and great. Some people I do know use it and the gamification, they're like, oh, I'm going out on a bender, so I'm going to take it off so it doesn't ruin my score. You realize that like your body's still being affected even if you can't see it on your Whoop or on your Aura Ring. So I do find it interesting. I do know a fair few people that do that, which is, it's sometimes the gamification gets a bit too outsourced, or people are outsourcing their body connection because they're not actually in tune. Like you're like, oh yeah, I wake up and I should probably have a rest, and then reinforces it. Whereas some people are just literally outsourcing the decision making to this. And they're still detached. So I like it as a tool to connect, but not something that's so connected to that you disconnect from yourself.
Yeah, well, that to yourself, I think where the world of the child archetype being prevalent is like, what do I what am I meant to eat today, Daddy? You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
what, like, you know, I've said this before. I had someone recently that come in with MS, and I actually asked her because I know like the myelin sheath is primarily like DHA and things like that, and I use evolution as the basis for everything. If it doesn't make sense with evolution for me and nature, I start to like doubt things pretty rapidly, right? So with evolution, I looked at just about every single culture had some form of like seafood. Some form of seafood. They all are because you need to be near a river to survive, right? And I asked her, do you eat any seafood? And she's like, no, I haven't eaten a piece of fish in years and years. And I was like, oh, that's DHA for your nerves, for your myelin sheath. Like, you're going to have to need that. But I also asked her, I was like, why do you think you have this? And that was like she never once asked herself that. And she go, oh, I don't know. I'm like, but why do you think you have this? Like, do you think it's just random, you know? And it's just stress, like, you know, she's just stressed, just works fucking everything for everyone else, you know? And there is that energetic connection where I know there's a connection. They talk about the caregiver archetype with MS, you know, where they give other people care before themselves and things like that. And that is so her, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like asking yourself why. Sometimes that can be rough to people because especially if they've been stuck in a child victim, which she isn't, but you know, they will feel like, what do you mean why? This has happened to me. I've got no control over this. This is that. And that's not going to help you, no matter what you think. Even if your mum did eat some bloody heavy metal food and you got some genetic thing from when, the bottom line is, what are you going to do about it? You know?
These are your cards, how are you going to play them? It's your choice.
Yeah, exactly. So it's back to that connecting to your body and like, does gluten swell my stomach or does it not? I don't give a fuck what the piece of paper says. You know, it's like, does it hurt or does it not? You know?
And I was thinking about that the other day. Like we are all just living in a victim mentality with the medical system. Like we always wait on disease and then the doctor to fix us, but we never really ask why it happened in the first place. And I'm reading this book called Health Via Food at the moment where he's really drilled into me the importance of actually knowing that you have the power, because like people think that things just happen to them. They think that you just get cancer or you just get whatever it is, a disease or a melanoma, and they're just like, oh, I was unlucky, and you know. But like you wrote your book, like the body is always giving you messages and feedback, and I think that how good does it feel when you can connect with the feeling of being in your own body and you actually have the power to change things? Because I think people always just like, and I've been guilty of it as well because my mum had cancer, my dad had cancer. So that's been a big fear of mine. And then it was like when I was younger, I was like, okay, well, if I be healthy, at least I've got the power in my hands. However, I was still kind of focusing on it. And then recently I was like, actually, no, that cord, there's no cord there. Like it's just, I had to really connect with the feeling of like, I'm listening to my body. I'm feeling what feels good and what feels bad and looking into my emotions and doing the work. And I think that like people can learn a lot. There's this book called Health Via Food. You can download the PDF on Google, but it's very, very mind blowing. And he's dealt with thousands of clients actually, and fixed a lot of like terminal diseases and stuff just via food. And there's too much to go into in the book. It's a very deep book, but it's very profound. And I think it just gives the power back to the people and being like, oh, actually, I mean, of course, like if you're mixing red meat, rice, bread, and then seed oils, sugar every single day for 20 or 30 years, there's going to be an ailment come of that. There has to be, because that's not what the body's designed to eat. Then you add on emotional stuff, EMF stress, too much phone, too much TV, not enough rest, you see, and then, oh, you've got cancer. All right, let's try chemotherapy. So it's like, it's really, you can see how fucking confused and backwards the medical industry is. And
and you can get into the whole conspiracy of, well, you don't want a chronic illness. Why would you want to cure it if it was a business?
Yeah, well, exactly.
So that's, and to your point before, I think, Callan, you were saying, why do you think you have this? With my appointments, the last question that I have after they fill out all of their details and systems review and all the things, I say, if you knew that your body was always on your side, what do you think it's trying to tell you? And 95% of the people, what they write, it's exactly what they need. I'm like, you already know. You already know what you need to do. Often they just need a little bit of guidance, because I think what I was saying before, how I started seeing a lot of these patients that were getting issues that weren't necessarily what a chiropractor could help with directly, then I went and studied the medical side. And when I studied the medical side, I'm like, oh, you guys actually think there is nothing wrong with these people because they don't hit your parameters. What you're trained in is, do they hit these parameters? That means I get to do what I'm trained in, which is medication and surgery. And if they don't, then it means there's nothing wrong. But that doesn't make any sense when it comes to chronic illness. It takes time to come about. You're ignoring all of the little warning signs from the body. But so many people don't know what a warning sign is, because so many people, for instance, women might have period pain. Because so many people have it, they think it's common. I mean, they think it's normal because it's so common. It's not. Or so many men might be like, oh, I feel exhausted and tired when I wake up. But, oh, that's just, that's just is what it is. Everyone does. You need your coffee in the morning to pep you up, and that's what's going to get you through. Or you need to have your Monster energy drink, all this different stuff. It's like, that's not normal.
No, fatigue's the first.
Ooh, Monster energy.
Yeah.
I say that because I used to drink a couple of them when I was like 16 working at Woolies.
Yeah, dude. I used to hit the Dare Ice coffees like to go rendering.
Yeah, I used to have them Dare mockers, dude.
So hectic.
I used to get up Dare mockers and like cakes and pies and shit from Beefy's.
And then you're like, oh, my gut hurts.
The disconnect is insane.
This is a good quote. I think I'll read it because I posted it the other day and it was out of this book, but I'll read it for the listeners. After all, what does the usual physician know of health? His whole training is on disease, not on health. He knows nothing about the latter, as it is not a profitable study, except for the patient. This is not the fault of the physician, but the fault of the system which educates him and continues to keep him misinformed on many things that his reason should tell him are not as he has been taught to believe. Chiefly that nature is a blind nurse and needs much expert guidance. All she needs is freedom from restraint, a free hand. And I think like that's such a deep quote, Like nature knows what's best, you know what's best, but we just don't listen. And I think the biggest thing is like the first thing you should listen to is fatigue, like you just said. Fatigue's the best way to know whether you're on your path or you're not, because you know when you have a good meal and you feel energetic and happy and your mood's good the next day.
Yeah, that's that first warning sign, right? They talk about it. The first warning is you get tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it becomes something else.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes flu, sickness, infection, cancer eventually, right?
Yeah.
But like when we talk about it's just like the hustle of life. Like I went to the butcher recently. I got these sausages, organic sausages, but they obviously had rice flour in them. And you can tell because you cut into it and it's like cutting into a fucking hot dog. Like it doesn't fall apart, doesn't have the minciness in it. And I had a tiny little stomach cramp off that. And it's so subtle. Like most people wouldn't even realize it was a stomach cramp. You wouldn't almost even call it a stomach cramp, but I could feel something. And I was like, oh, okay, there's that tiny little bit of like lower abdominal, probably dissension if I did that every day for a couple of weeks, where I wouldn't be able to draw my core in anymore, or I wouldn't even know that it's not drawing in. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to test this. And I already have tested this before, but I just to, again, drill myself in. And because I had a cold one already cooked and I had it the next day and had that tiny little cramp again. I was like, oh, okay, not having them again. Because that's all of a sudden 10 years of that shit. That little cramp is that little scratch, until that little scratch is some leaky gut, until that little leaky gut is some autoimmune thing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, why am I sick from the so many lessons prior to that from my body of not getting energy from the food, right? I didn't get that life force energy.
Yeah. And that's what, like, if you eat that and you eat rice flour and seed oils and stuff, it creates that like gas, because it's acidity in the gut, and it creates the gas which stretches the colon, and that creates inflammation. And that's what that feeling is. And people are constantly just doing it. Like I had a friend yesterday say he's been so bloated. Like he's vegan and he's an absolute legend, but he's vegan and he's bloated. You can imagine like a vegan diet, there's a lot of carbohydrates, sometimes mainly processed too. Like not a lot of vegans are really onto it, that I know anyway. So yeah, you can the gas, the bloating, the acidity is what actually causes the colon pain or the bowel pain.
Yeah, right.
And it can be small intestine, large intestine, but Yeah.
So to touch on your type of, like, what sort of work are you mainly dealing with these days? Like, what's your clientele look like?
Yesterday I saw a woman that is a CEO, very high thriving woman on the outside. But when I said to her, okay, what do you do for self-care, for instance? She'd be like, what do you mean? Like, what actually is that? Do people actually do that? I'm confused. Like that was her response. But and she's like, oh yeah, I've always had dry skin. I always need my coffee in the morning. I had to go through multiple rounds of IVF to get my children. I had endometriosis. I had all this. It's just like, but that's just the norm. That's just what I have to do. I have to keep doing these things. So I see women like that. I also see women that I had a patient that started to get, she's in her mid 30s, started to get seizures out of nowhere and really heavy menstrual bleeding. Had gone, like, she's, when you guys are saying cut out all the things, like pay attention to what your body's telling you, she is that type of person. So I see a lot of the people that are doing quote unquote all the things they should be doing. So they're like, I've cut out the gluten, I've cut out the dairy, I'm doing the detox, I'm doing the meditation that I need to be doing. They're doing all the things, but a lot of the times they're not stopping and listening and doing the things their body actually really wants them to do. They're often the people, like as you were talking about before, Callan, with the lady that had MS. It's like, well, what are you actually doing where you can, sorry, can you guys hear that?
No.
I've just got like this whippersnapper like really loud in my ear. Sorry. This is where with MS, it's like, okay, well, are you doing so much for other people and not yourself? MS is what? Autoimmune condition. What's an autoimmune condition? Your immune system. Your immune system is what? It's a boundary of your body. So if you're doing so much for other people, then your body can start to attack itself. You sort of lose who you are. You've forgotten who you are. So a lot of the people that I see are women in some way, shape, or form that's playing out in their life, and they're starting to get different symptoms, whether it's really heavy periods, whether they're struggling to fall pregnant, whether they're extremely fatigued, whether they can't lose weight, even though they're practically starving themselves and exercising like crazy. They're perimenopausal. I see the women, what I call, who are lost in the space between. They have symptoms and no diagnosis, or they have a diagnosis and no answers. So I see those women and I look at what is going on in their bloods, what's happening functionally, and then also energetically. So I do a whole sort of timeline. That's how I like to care for women. But yes, everything's sort of blown up and there's a lot of people that want to work with me, which is great. But now it's going, okay, well, how can I help other practitioners who are like me when I was working as a chiro, seeing all these people and not going, well, what do I actually do? How do I care for this stuff when I've got you for 7 minutes for an adjustment, when there's so much stuff going on? And yes, you can drip feed it and you're doing it. And I'm like, oh, how do I care for you in this way? And how do I build this out into a framework that would actually really help a lot of people? So now I also train practitioners in what I call the fundamentals framework, which is helping people understand their body from a medical, functional, energetic standpoint. So
amazing.
What's like the standard of care, like say endo and PCOS, like when a female goes to the medical system, you would hear the stories. What's their answers they're given?
Answers as to why they have it.
Why they have it and what they're meant to do about it.
So if it's endo, generally it takes around 7 years for them to be diagnosed with it. And 50% of people that have the cure for it and the diagnosis at the same time is a laparoscopy, which is where they offer it through keyhole, and they'll basically burn off or cut off the extra uterine-like tissue around whatever organs it is. And 50% of the time it grows back.
Right.
So then that makes you wonder, well, why is it growing back? What's the environment that's conducive to that? And if you always remember that your body's trying to look out for you, why is your body growing this tissue external to the area that it needs to be? So on the medical side of things, I go, yes, it can be genetic, but also it's not. women that have it and they have children that child doesn't necessarily get it, and vice versa. So it's not a genetic link in that sense, but it's more so, I would say, lifestyle. There can be hereditary things passed down. Oftentimes, if it's issues around the womb area for a woman, if we think energetics, there's been some form of like threat to their life or possibly sexual abuse. Those things typically, if you notice trends, that can be that's what's happening. Or they don't like trust in life. So there's something that's caused them to not trust in life.
Or trust in their body to have a child, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Because like, what is the uterus? Like, it's the creation of life. It houses it. So often there's that aspect that's happening there. So from an energetics perspective, that's what's happening. From a medical perspective, endo is, here's a marina, if we can put it in there to basically decrease your estrogen, or we'll put you on a pill to decrease your estrogen because it's a hormonally sensitive tissue and estrogen grows it. And then we'll cut it out. Or if you're done having kids, let's just get rid of your whole uterus and we'll give you a hysterectomy. From a functional standpoint, whenever I think functional, I talk about the 4 fundamentals, which is nervous system, metabolism, nutrients, and blood sugars. If we can care for them, whether it's endo, whether it's PCOS, whether it's MS, whether it's IBS, whatever it is, if we can care for those fundamentals, most of the time, like I would say 90% of the time, the issues predominantly go away. In terms of PCOS, the treatment is the pill to help regulate your hormones or regulate your period, which actually doesn't. It just gives you a false one. Give you different medication to help with your acne that you might be getting, or go, okay, now you've got abnormal hair growth, go and see your salon and get it removed in that sense. So that's the medical treatment for that. Sometimes I do give you metformin, which is for blood sugars, but again, it's not addressing why it's there. It's just going, here you go. Medical system is, here's a label. This is what you've got. So now we've given you a label. We can give you what we can give you for treatment, which is either medication or surgery. It's not going, okay, well, why is it there in the first place? So that's that whole, you've got a diagnosis, but no answers. You don't actually understand why you've got it.
Yeah.
And that's where some people go, oh, it's genetic, which is a lot of the times with chronic stuff, genes don't really play that much of an impact to what we think. It's more so lifestyle, like the epigenetics, is it actually triggering it? And sometimes when we have that connotation, it's sort of like that victim mindset of, oh, well, I can't do anything about it anyway. Like, it's a great way to like disempower you. I shouldn't maybe say victim, it's more disempowering. And then in terms of, from a functional standpoint, absolute, like nervous system, someone that's wired will start to show signs and symptoms of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Someone that doesn't have their blood sugars taken care of will have symptoms of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Someone whose metabolism is off, their circadian health is completely off. One of the main symptoms of polycystic ovarian syndrome is an irregular cycle. What is the main cycle that the whole world is moving around? The sun. It's like night and day. So if you can actually get that rhythm working well, the other rhythms in your body, your bowel, your menstrual cycle, your sleep cycle, work a lot better. And then from an energetics perspective, as I said, it's like that creation of life. So the safety in life often is what's going on when I think about anything to do with the womb or ovaries.
In regard to the difference between the two, like do you find that just like that may be the epigenetics showing itself from the same lifestyle, or would there be more of like something you narrow in on, let's say from a physical nutritional perspective, for the difference between PCOS and endometriosis? Like, is one more related to blood sugar regulation, or are they both just?
PCOS is quite well known to be with blood sugar regulation, and PCOS you'll often have more androgen or higher testosterone impact. Estrogen and endometriosis tend to go more hand in hand, but endometriosis is higher estrogen, more inflammation. That basically grows that tissue. So gut you really want to be working on, but again, gut's important for everything. I always think if you've got a hormonal thing, people go, oh yeah, your hormones are released from your ovaries, right? I'm like, yeah, your brain's the thing that tells your ovaries to work well, but there's also all the organs in between have an impact on that pattern and on those hormones. So what's happening with your thyroid, what's happening with your liver, what's happening with your pancreas, what's happening with your gut, what's happening with your adrenal glands. When they are mismatched, the messages won't be clear. And then your body will be like, hey, we need help. How's it going to tell you it needs help? It can't verbally tell you, so it's going to tell you in your symptoms. And that's where it's like, yeah, it's the difference between that normal. So if you start to get the pain and people might be like, oh, it's fine, everyone gets it. And then they might be like, oh no, this is pain where I can't get out of bed and they do something about this. And then they go to the doctor and they go, oh, okay, yeah, you've got endometriosis. Unfortunately, it takes around 7 years for people to even be heard. But again, when you get the diagnosis, that's not the end result. That's like, oh, okay, now I've got a label for what my body's been trying to tell me. But maybe if I actually just look at, have I been caring for these fundamentals in my day? And maybe let's just start with that and see how my symptoms change and shift. Because the majority of the time they start to disappear.
And addictions as well. Like, I feel like people think that it's a quick fix, a lot of things. So they'll change their diet for a couple of months. But what the body's actually asking for is a lifestyle overhaul. And that takes a year. So it should take a year to heal or reverse something like that. But I don't know many people. That's why you're so important, because like you can actually guide people into these lifestyle changes and say, no, we need to actually take some time here, cut out the caffeine, cut out this, cut out whatever, and focus on real food and energetics or whatever it is for this whole year at least. And usually once it starts to snowball, hey, like you'll change something. And then by the end, you're like, oh, I feel so much better. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to do more of that. But sometimes for people, I feel like it can be so overwhelming because there's so many things to change so quickly. And it's kind of like frustrating in that way, hey?
I think it's like if people have like this sense of urgency, I want to get it fixed now.
Yeah, that's
that's
it.
The whole thing, like surgery and a pill, that's now.
Yeah.
Higher risk and there's a lot more side effects. Not addressing the underlying cause, but it's like, it's that impatience, right? It's the dopamine hit. It's like, we want to scroll. We want our Amazon order to be delivered tomorrow. Like, what do you mean I have to wait a week?
It's done. Let's move on to this now. Like,
And like, I noticed that show up in different areas of my life too. But I think before, when you guys were talking about when you used to have like Monster energy drinks or the Dare iced coffees and mochas, there's probably no way that you'd think that you'd do that now.
No
because
chance.
It's not your identity. Like, it's like, it's just not who you are. But like when you first start to change and shift, you're like, oh, this feels weird. This isn't me.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's like, oh no, I couldn't even, like me, I could never imagine smoking a cigarette in my life. Like there's no way I would. I think there's a famous, I think it was a reel or a quote I saw, Tony Robbins. I think actually, no, he was on the Theo Von podcast and I was listening to it and he said, why he had a person come up to him and go, oh my gosh, since working with you or listening to your stuff, I'm like 475 days without a cigarette. And he's like, why are you counting? Like, I don't know how many days I've been alive to know how many days I haven't had a cigarette.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a smoker. So I don't have to, I'm not calculating that. So I think it's really interesting when it's like when you have that continual shift and change. But the really big, long lasting is that identity shift.
That's that whole Atomic Habits type. You know the book Atomic Habits?
Yeah, James Clear, is it?
Yeah. Is that his name? Yeah, it is. And I read that on the plane, and it was just at the airport. And I saw it. I was like, I've seen this book pop up, and that's basically the summation of it. And it's funny you were saying that. I was walking around the pool, and I was sinking yesterday, and I was like, think about how I will never have like a KFC zinger meal again, right? and I was like, and I'm glad that's not hard for me now. I'm glad, but it has taken years and years and years of just the little changes. Because at the start, my journey into health was like, I remember going to Aldi, getting turkey mince, getting their bags of greens, and then meal prepping fucking turkey for 7 days in a row. Never once finishing the 7 days, getting to day 3 and being so over it, you know?
Yeah.
And thinking that was health, you know? And I can see like these sort of younger guys I live with, like that's where they're at. They're thinking like, oh, this is the chicken, it's healthy, but it's like Coles, you know, caged up chickens with like some veg oil all over it, you know, like from this tartare sauce or something.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, I can see where they're at. And some people, without having being exposed to this way of life, they'll stay like that forever, you know. But I was like, how nice is it that the habits are so ingrained now that it is just a part of you, and how it's like the Matrix. And this is what it's almost like you demand it not demand it, but it's got to be part of it out of even your circle eventually, and then definitely your partner and whatnot, right? Like it's like in the whole dating pool, people can be like whatever, but once you're in this way of life, there's no whatever. There's no. It could be Megan Fox, but if Megan Fox wants to have KFC zingers, she can have it by herself. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like it's funny how it becomes like almost another identity of
it's so true,
of like this sort of whole matrix thing.
Yeah, and I think because like we've both come from that, you know?
Yeah.
Like I remember I ate KFC every day.
Yeah.
Like I would surf, be so exhausted and come in and have a UBM, an ultimate burger meal with a Pepsi. And like
how good did that used to be, dude?
Dude, I know. And I did that till I was like probably 17.
Yeah.
I just had no idea, hey. And God, looking back, you're just like, what did I do to my body back then? You know what I mean? The body's amazing that it can really, like I spent a lot of my years unhealthy early. But I had depression, anxiety. I had little love handles around my hips and I didn't know why. And a chick called me fat in Hawaii once and I was like so traumatized by that. And I was like,
PTSD.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
just went full like anorexic. Like.
Yeah, fully. I actually, for one stage there, I'd eat even a healthy roast and I'd spew it up.
Whoa.
Yeah. At Epos. I remember like going for a run and like being on this quest to be, you know, an athlete and I'd spew it up and I think like why? And the whole thing was around weight because I wanted to look the part. You know what I mean? So funny.
I'd love to. Oh, sorry, you were about to say something?
I was going to say that's interesting because I find it interesting. What is people's definition of a healthy person?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know you are a healthy person? Because someone else might be listening to this and they're like, I eat like no seed oils. Everything's purely organic. I grow it all myself. What do you mean you go to the butcher's? I kill it myself and I harvest it myself. Like where's the extremes, right? But then someone might be like, say your housemate now, Callan, who's, oh, well, I'm not having a zinger meal. I'm having my chicken.
Yeah.
Right. So it's almost like, where do you draw the line? How do you know whether you're healthy or not? And is it just appearance? Because I have friends that are like shredded and jacked and they look the part, but I don't think they're healthy. Like they're injecting with testosterone. They're like eating the same thing all the time. They go out on weekends, but they've measured their calories. So they've got the six pack, they've got this stuff. I'm like, I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, that identity piece for people. And like what you were saying before, Jake, around like, I just wanted to like look the part, but internally you didn't feel good.
No, I felt terrible.
I think, and I'd love to ask you that question, but what I see it as is like, because you can see the people that, you know, get like, I've always trained. So I've always never had body fat, but I don't think of myself as healthy when I was younger, right? Because of, you know, I would have surely had a little pimple here and there. There would have been some patchiness in the skin. What I see is the skin and the eyes, and I can see you're healthy. Like, so many people we get on this podcast that are sort of on this path straight away. I'm like, oh yeah, she's healthy. You know, you can see there's a glow behind it, you know? And so I see like those people you're talking about, the ones that are injecting the TRT and have that, usually when you have a deep look at them, you can see it through the face. And what I see generally is that red tingy like patchiness sometimes, or the subtle puffiness in the face, and the clarity of the eyes, the aura. The aura can't be as high.
Yeah.
You know, the glow's not there, that natural glow that some people have when they just like not even pure, you know, even just 80-20, but 80-20 of the good stuff, right? Because you can have these same people and eating, like you said, killing their own animals and that, but their sleep's not that good. Or these same people that are so into that, but they don't move their body at all. They're just only doing just like yoga or something. They're not actually having any sort of physical demand that evolution is dependent upon, and being able to move your body a little bit more than just stretching it all the time, you know? That's what I see. And
I do see, I find that really interesting, because I do see one of the main sort of like archetypes, I suppose, of patients that I see are the women that are like so strict with what they're eating. And so like, okay, yes, I'm doing this amount of HIIT workouts, I'm lifting weights here, I'm making time to meditate, I'm doing the saunas, I'm doing the ice baths, I'm doing the supplements, I'm like everything. And I'm like, you've got an autoimmune disease, or you've got like, because you're so hyper stressed that everything has to be exactly perfect. So there's like sort of this payoff, right, where it's, if you're constantly always like, I have to do all these things, if you just think like from a mindset perspective, you're like, they open their fridge and they're like, that's a threat, that's a threat, that's a threat. What can't I eat? What can't I eat? Like if they're coming from that perspective, because they're thinking there's so many things in their environment that can be harming them. So their internal body is on alarm all the time. Or they get so far into that identity piece that they have to be that identity. If they do something slightly off, then they get guilt and shame and all this internal stuff starts to come about. So it's almost like this, I want to be healthy, but it's out of a fear-based approach, as opposed to like, oh, I'm loving my body. Like, is this a loving choice for me, or what feels most alive? That's often what, like with that, yes, you need to be focusing that 80-20, right? You're not going to be eating 80% of the time a Zigger. What do you call it? An ultimate
burger meal with
burger
a Pepsi.
meal?
Really, you don't know what that is?
No, I'm more of a what are they called?
What was your thing?
Oh, what are they called?
Whopper?
The little like popcorn chicken go buckets.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah.
You know, because it's little, so you can't. You know, it's not a big.
It's
I don't go
guilt
the
free.
big kahuna.
It's guilt free. You
Yeah.
can still have them these days. That's fine.
Right. But yeah, I think it's interesting when we are doing these things, whatever you're doing. I think just like really coming from a place of like love and versus fear, going, is this a loving choice for me? Because sometimes people are like, oh, I'm doing meditation because it's like, yeah, but you're doing meditation out of fear. You're not actually doing it because you are loving yourself with this. It's like, oh, I have to do these things, and then that's the thing that's going to get. It's like that's like not the right frame of mind to go about it. Like your body is tense and tight, and you feel like you have to do all these things to be healthy. Instead of your body's inherently healthy. Listen to it. What does it actually want to do? Like, what's the loving choice?
And stress stops digestion. I was reading a study the other day on what they did with rats, and it stops digestion for 4 hours. So it's like, think about how stressed we are.
We were laughing about it the other day. One of our mates sort of going through a breakup and whatnot. And I was like, dude, when I went through a breakup, I remember cooking a piece of salmon and eating half of it. And now like one piece of salmon like isn't enough for me, right?
No way.
And I remember almost at the moment laughing to myself thinking this is ridiculous. Like, why can I not eat? You know?
Get the craziest stress rig when you're going through a breakup.
Yeah,
like you just
it lasts like a week and then you're good. But like but I remember witnessing it at the time thinking this is so funny that why can I not eat right now? You know? And I was just like wasting away, but my body's like, nah, you can't eat. How weird's that?
Well, yeah, like stress, like that goes back to like the body's wisdom, I reckon. Like when the body needs to shut down and heal when you're going through stress. Like it wants to heal your gut, it wants to heal your brain, it wants to heal everything. So it just gets rid of food. That's why I think like fasting is so important, eh? I feel like we don't fast enough, and I don't either. I've only ever fasted 2 days, and I broke it with vodka, and had flipped out. But yeah, I think it's important. Like the body needs to heal, but stress, like my mum was really, really a stress head. She just sit in the laundry and smoke cigarettes. She died of cancer when I was 18. She was 54. But if I knew what I knew now, God, I feel like I could have helped her so much with the stress, because she was always so stressed. I remember once I got head lice, and she was fucking for a week. Like she was fucking off it and stressed, running around the house. And I was just thinking like, none of this shit matters. Like, you know, and I feel like a lot of people just live in this constant state of stress. How can you
and that,
digest food?
And that comes back down to your like meditations and obviously the diet, right? Because the diet, I try and like teach some of my clients, because I've noticed it myself, like it's very hard to outthink a bad diet. It's very hard if you start eating poor foods 5 days in a row to sit there and think, oh, look, my life's good and what. Yeah. Because your body starts giving you these thoughts, feelings, whatever it is, the energy in you that it's not doing great. And then your thoughts follow it. Yeah. Right. And I'd say I'm someone that doesn't really have a lot of negative thoughts compared to some people I talk to. But even when I'm eating things like that, I'm like, you could do so well in business and you're just not that stoked on it. Doesn't matter how well you're doing, you're just not that stoked on it. No matter how good your life looks to everyone on the outside, when you're not on point. Like if I have one night in alcohol, I'm like the next day I'm like, holy shit, imagine doing this people are doing this all the time. Your next 3 days are written off. Your dopamine's like down here a little bit, you know. But I'm aware of that, so I know it was the alcohol and I know it's not my brain. And then 2 days goes past and I'm good. Because like Jake's obviously been getting way more into the meditations lately. And like, what do you reckon is like for these people with the stress? Do you reckon it's just witnessing, like back to watching your thoughts again?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I liked what you said earlier. Like, most people are so stressed they think they need to meditate, but meditation is actually the opposite. You got to be called to meditation. I think it's like, and you also got to meditate for no reason whatsoever. If you're meditating for a reason, you've kind of like, it's a paradox. You've kind of fucked yourself. I think meditation is to become peaceful. So it's just to slow your mind down. That's what I look at meditation as, and get clearer messages from the universe. I don't think like, you don't meditate to become a good meditator. You meditate to, become more peaceful. That's all I see it as. It's like we would have been meditating, walking swimming in the ocean, walking for long distances. Like a walk is a meditation. So you're just getting your
connection. It's connection to yourself or connection to nature. Like
and you look at the biological oscillators, so like the brain, the heart, and the gut. It just brings them back into sync. Like that's what a walk does. And I feel like it's the same with meditation. But for me, I get to go somewhere every day where I just am caught in my world and my mind and everything. And I get to go somewhere where I call it just home now, where I get to go and I sit there and I don't even think. I'm kind of like, thank fuck that's not real. It's like waking up from a bad dream sometimes. Because I'll be thinking about like the business, or I'll be thinking about whatever stresses there is. Or like it could be, man, some of the dumbest shit I stress about. But I'll go sit there and I'll go, oh, that's right. None of this actually matters. We're just going to die and this is all good.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a beautiful feeling. Yeah.
What's your approach with that pillar and with your clients? How do you approach that?
With the nervous system?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I do see as like that meditation and doing it from that perspective is amazing. And it can just be like, for some people, I'm like, you don't have to set aside 20 minutes of your day, and the whole time you're doing it, you're thinking, crap, I have all this laundry to do. Are the kids' lunches done? Like you're not actually being with your body. So when I think about nervous system, I have a question on my history form that's how often do you feel a sense of pleasure in your day, and how often do you feel a sense of play in your day? And it's out of 5 being the highest. The vast majority of people say 1 or 2. So when we actually create spaciousness, and that, like, what's meditation? Like when you're going for a walk, a leisurely walk, what's that? It's like, oh, my body feels like I have space to be able to do this. I have time, right?
Yeah.
So when we actually create spaciousness in our day, whatever that might be, like, oh, I'm going to leave 10 minutes earlier than I normally do to get to the gym, so I'm not rushing like crazy to get there.
Yeah.
Or it might be like, oh, I'm actually going to call this person now, not wait until the last minute. It's like actually creating spaciousness is one of the biggest pillars. So I'm like, if you think adding meditation is going to take away from your spaciousness, don't do it.
Yeah.
Actually create spaciousness in some way, shape, or form in your day. It might be meditation. It might be something else. And then the other thing I get them to do or focus on is go, I want you to feel a sense of pleasure or play every single day. That's your number one priority.
Yeah.
And it might not be that you have to, I don't know, go and do like sometimes I literally say to people, I'm like, do cartwheels in the sunshine outside. That's play. Play is doing something because you enjoy it. The actual doing of it, there's no intention behind it.
There's no outcome.
It's not to get something.
Yeah.
So, and people go, wait, what is that? I don't know. I don't even know what I would do. I'm like, what did you used to do as a kid? A lot of the times if I bring in music, like I often will like dance naked in the morning to music. It's like, I'm like, why else?
Yeah.
Right? You just get like, you're in your body.
Yeah.
And when you're in your body, that story part of your brain, you can witness it more. And also you're not in that part. So the story part of your brain, if we get into like a little bit of the neurology, it's called the default mode network. I don't know whether you guys have talked about psychedelics on this podcast or have heard Mike Tyson talk about like Bufo or those types of things. It's designed to switch off your default mode network. So all the stories that you have about yourself, about other people in your life, about life, it's like, oh my gosh, work's so stressful. That's a story, right? Doesn't have to be. Some people don't see it as that, but you might be at that time. But when you're in that default mode network of your brain, it means that you're not in the body part of your brain or the action part of your brain. So why do you feel so good if you go and play tennis with a friend? Because you're in your body, you have to move your body, and you have to focus on an action. Like you have to be like, okay, where am I? If you're in the story part, you're not going to be playing as well. Yeah. So that's what often when there's people that are like, oh yeah, if I've drank a night on alcohol, I feel terrible. Why? Because you haven't looked after the body part of your brain. Like it's like, oh my gosh, I'm dehydrated, or my liver's not working well. Some people, like particularly women, add binge drinking on weekends, iron deficiency, heavy periods. Yeah, you're going to feel really crap. And then you're probably going to need a prescription for an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety. But what's the actual cause in the first place? So when we're not caring for the body, then the stories that we pull are going to be terrible. When we're caring for the body part of the brain, the stories that we pull are going to be much more likely to be positive ones. And same if you're noticing that you're in that story part and it's not a positive one, getting into your body or getting into an action you have to focus on will automatically create distance from the story. So that's when you can get perspective on it. You're not fully ingrained because you're not in that part of your brain. You haven't defaulted there. So that's exactly what you were saying before, Jake. It's like, oh, often meditation, there's something to do with you have to pay attention to a part of your body or what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Typically. So that's getting into the body parts. And you've gotten out of the story part. So you've got a bit of perspective to look at it. You go, I'm going to die anyway. Everyone's going to die. So
that's a great explanation. Yeah. I think that, when I start meditating, my thoughts are just so rapid. But by the end of the 20 minutes or the 10 minutes or whatever I do feel like doing, it's like it slows right down. And I almost feel like it's just like, like the feeling of going home, but it's so quick at the start. It could be about anything and you're not conscious of these thoughts. I thought I was at Greensmith Grocer, like this grocer store around the corner, and I looked around and I just saw everyone rushing. Like I saw this mum with her kids and she was rushing, and then that person was rushing. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, where is everyone fucking going in such a rush? Like, and that was the biggest thing meditation took away for me, was the feeling of always being in a rush. Like, even though I wasn't. Like, I've got a podcast today, my client cancelled, but usually I would feel rushed, and I'm like, there's nothing going on. I'm just rushing in my head.
It's funny. I always like, because I got to go to goal this afternoon. In my head, I was already starting to feel, I got to quickly write this and do this and do this and like, and then make sure I hang the washing and put my clothes away and like, really, I'm just sitting here talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's the feeling, eh? That's the beautiful feeling. If you can tap into that, you can do that all day, and it's like it'll get done when it gets done. Like there's no real rush for anything.
One of my one of the things I really love, I call it lioness, but if it's because I mainly work with women, I do work with some men, but I'll say be like a lion or be like a lioness. Why? They're predator. They're not prey.
Yeah.
So if you look at a lioness or a lion on the savannah, what are they doing? They're not like moving around like a jackrabbit rushing around. Like that's prey.
Nah, I know.
So if you can actually just literally slow your roll. When people go for a walk, they're like, yep, I went for a walk in the morning and I listened to this podcast. It was going to really help me in my business or health or whatever the hell it is. And they're walking really fast. Like when I go for my walk, I see these people. I'm like, you are stressed out of your mind. But you're like, I have to go for my morning walk to reset that. I'm like, okay, go for your morning walk, do the things, but be like a lioness. How would a lioness walk? What would she say? What would her energy be when she walks into a room? It's completely different. Like you're not doing anything different. You're still going about your day. You're still doing the podcast. You're still driving down to Gold Coast. You're doing it like a lion would.
Yeah, it's like you go to the cafe and they're like, how are you? And you're like, yeah, good. How are you? It's the most unconscious thing ever. Like there's no exchange. Like no one's actually being present. Yeah, it's interesting, eh? I love that analogy. And that's like, imagine trying to digest food as prey. And that's kind of like what we're all walking around like sometimes, eh?
Yeah. So sometimes it's like, the meditation is amazing and great, but you can help your nervous system not by changing anything that you're doing in your day. You can just change how you're doing it.
Yeah.
And there's a complete shit. Like I see people like, oh, but what do you mean? I have to get the kids up for school and do their things. I'm like, put music on, dance around in the kitchen when you're getting everyone like, how amazing for the kids to start their day like that before they go to school. Instead of everyone's yelling at people and going, quick, get in the car, turn the horn, all the things. It's like, you have fun. Like I'm grateful. Like I had both of them growing up. I'm one of 5 kids. So it was a bit chaotic sometimes in the mornings, but we also had like, my mum would often like play music and we'd be like dancing, getting ready. It was so much fun of those mornings versus like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired and we have to rush and everyone's stressed. And like, it's just, you can do the same thing, but just go about it in a different way.
That's so cool. I remember, maybe it was like Jordan Peterson or someone talking about like your energy. Like say you're the dad that gets home from work, right? You can get home pissed off once or twice, but all of a sudden if you start getting home pissed off 50 times in a row, then the dog's not going to be waiting at the door for you. The kids aren't going to be waiting at the door for you. Like it starts to change your whole, you got to like check your energy sometimes because a lot of the time when things aren't happening in your life and no one wants to be near you or around you, that's happening for a reason, right? Because the energy's been off and people don't want to be around that. Like it's sad because people like sometimes need help when they're in that victim energy. It's like they want the support, but in turn it pushes everyone else away from them because everyone's got their own shit going on. You don't want to like, I know it's like, I don't want, it sounds sad, but people to put their shit on top of me when they already got enough shit going on. You know what I mean? Like everyone has their own little things going on. And yeah, you can reach out for support, but it's cooked when say they do, but then they don't do anything. Everyone witnesses that. And then like, I got, the day's full, you know, I can't add this to me. Therefore I don't want to pick up your calls. I don't want to hang out with you here. I don't want to hear it. Like, it's just like happens often. And I've seen it happen to people around, but I wanted to touch on like, I always like to ask like any really cool stories that you think of with a client that stand out amongst the rest, you know, where you're like, oh, that's a really cool story of like a before and after. Like I got a message this morning from this guy that was only drinking 1 glass of water a day. And he goes, dude, he goes, my shoulder's feeling so much better. He goes, I feel like a completely different person. I just got him drinking water. You know? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, bro. Crazy. I was like, you're made of water, man. You're made of water. Don't forget that. There's still a sun above you, and we are matter. And we are a puddle walking around.
Fully.
So we're drying out like anything else.
Yeah.
So make sure you drink your water.
Yeah, I know.
So anything that stand out that you can.
Very simple analogy. Like, makes sense. Drink your freaking water.
Yeah. And then you got to tell them why. Like, it's like realizing the benefits make the benefits real. So for him, his approach wasn't, you're going to have nice skin. It may be to the female, your skin's going to have denser look, whatever, right? But to him, I was like, oh, bro, like all your joints are hydrostatic pressure, your shoulder's hurting right now. This will create space under your AC, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Therefore, I'll drink water. So there's a way you can get to everyone. But what about yourself? Any cool stories you can think of? It can be one or two.
I've got so many ones. There's one that I write about in my book. She was a 21-year-old woman, just recently married, wanted to have kids. Her menstrual cycle, she was having between 57 and 85 days, I believe, which is, for those playing at home, not normal. Should be around 28 days. And cystic acne. She'd never been to medical doctors. She's like, I don't like medical doctors. I never want to go. But she started like micro napping when she was sleeping. She's like, well, okay, there's something going on here. I'm going to go get checked by the doctor. Went to the doctor. They did bloods, and she had her thyroid levels tested, and the TSH level, which if it's above 4 medically, they'll be like, you need thyroxine or there's something going on with your thyroid. Hers was 29. I've never seen anyone's that high. I was thinking, oh, crap, do you possibly have a brain tumor? What's going on with this? Thankfully, she didn't. And basically the doctor said, you've got an autoimmune thyroid condition. You need to be on thyroid medication for the rest of your life. When you want to fall pregnant, we're going to have to put you on these ovulation-inducing drugs. You're probably going to need IVF. That's the route. And because she was so opposed to medicine in the first place, she's like, no, I don't want to do that. What else can I do? And she actually happened to be one of my sister's friends at school. And so she reached out to me, and I was like, look, I do a lot of functional hair testing. So hair tissue mineral analysis. Jake, you might have to use other hair if you're going to do it.
Hey, we did it actually.
We did it. Yeah.
We did it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's do this, because I like doing it because it helps me assess all 4 of those fundamentals: the nervous system, metabolism, nutrients, and blood sugars. And it's like personalized to the person.
Yeah.
So hers came back and she had like through the roof arsenic levels, like really heavy arsenic. She also had a couple other things. Her nervous system wasn't being cared for, but she was in a really loving relationship. She was doing things to care for her nervous system, was very much like, we want to eat from the land. She grew up on a farm. Like, so she was doing a lot of those things, but she had the arsenic because she grew up on a sheep farm.
Yeah.
And they had like sheep dip. And then they also her husband ended up getting one as well. And he had really high levels of arsenic and cadmium and mercury, maybe.
I think I had mine are all pretty high too, eh? So let's okay. But anyway, continue.
So she so basically what we did was all we did was care for her fundamentals. We didn't do any crazy chelation or anything. We just supported her body nutritionally and her elimination pathways, so then her body could naturally excrete the arsenic, and she wasn't living in the same area, so she wasn't being re-exposed, which was great. 3 months later, like in that time, in the first month, she's like, oh, I'm getting more energy, my skin's clearing up, my bowels are more regular. So it's like, okay, those are all good signs from your body. After 3 months, in this time, sorry, she was measuring her basal body temperature, which is what women do when they're tracking their fertility. It'll peak about 0.3 of a degree Celsius when you ovulate, because your body's producing more heat because it's more metabolically active when you've ovulated. And then it will go back down. So she wasn't noticing any peaks. It was a bit all over the shop. She's like, oh, I noticed a peak and my overall baseline temperature has increased. So the overall baseline was really low because her metabolism was slowed, but then it increased overall and then had the spike. It's like, oh, that's amazing. Great. 3 months afterwards, we did a follow-up hair test. Her arsenic had come drastically down. It was pretty much nearly nothing.
Wow.
Cool.
And then she was noticing all these positive improvements. She went and got a follow-up blood test with her doctor. It had gone from 29 to, oh, she had 2 in there. She had 29, then she had a 15, and then she had 4.1. Wow. And her doctor said, you still need thyroid medication. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, look at the trend. It's improving dramatically. She's feeling a lot healthier. We can see all these different things. So anyway, and then a month after I saw her for a follow-up, she's like, hey, great news. I'm pregnant. So she fell pregnant naturally, has had the baby. And in the timing of her, in the last little bit of her pregnancy, they had to move. So they're in a completely different hospital, different doctors. And after she gave birth, on her patient file, it said patient adamant she has Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune thyroid condition, ? As in, like, there was no markers for her to have it on bloods, nothing that showed up for her. So that was a really cool story of going like, oh, wow, you had all these symptoms. If we just go medical, well, you've got these tests, they show this, here's a diagnosis, this is what you do. So it's like the diagnosis, but she was like, but I don't know why. Like, why do I have it? What's going on? So that's the piece we go, okay, well, if you want to know why, you need to look at functionally what's happening. And this is where it's like that wellness space we've been talking about this whole time. What do you do? Shit, am I meant to meditate? Do I need to do this detox? What about cold plunges or ice baths? Or I need to do postural stuff. Like, what am I meant to be doing? It's like, well, when we can care for what I look at and go, let's just care for these fundamentals. And which one of them in your life or several of them need support. And then let's just gradually care for them. Notice how your body's shifting and changing and it's giving you symptoms that it's loving you now. And then sometimes I look at the energetics, but for her it was she had diagnosis and no answers. So we just investigated with a different lens and then she improved. And that's what, if someone listening to this is like, oh, but medicine's the best, or I hate medicine, or like, people have different biases. Being a chiropractor and growing up in a household of chiropractors, I'm not immune to it. Lots of people are like, oh, don't you hate physios or chiropractors? I don't believe in them, or like whatever. Everyone has a bias against anything. I always say, if you imagine your body like a house, and you've built this beautiful house, you've designed it, you've put so much love into it, and then the toilet breaks, and then you call the painter to fix the toilet. It's the wrong trade. It's the wrong person. So that's the whole thing. It's like, well, I think that's in part where society, where we've got that downfall and the system is broken, is because we pedestalize one form of doctor, one form of body worker as the one that's going to know. And if they don't know, then, oh, I'm making it up, or my body, there's nothing wrong with my body, or whatever you're going to say. It's like, no, it's the wrong person for what your body is experiencing at the moment. You need to find that type of care that your body's calling for with the symptoms.
With her, like, practically, what did that look like for her? Like, what did you prioritize? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for her detoxing the arsenic.
Yeah, so there's specific supplements that are recommended for her. We needed to support her nervous system, so we gave her different supplements called paratone and adenine complex. So basically, I was building up her nutrition. Her potassium was extremely low. Potassium is actually really important for a lot of things, but one of the things with the thyroid is basically your thyroid can make the hormone, it can be excreted around the body, but potassium is the thing that actually helps the cells take it in. So on a blood test, it could be okay, but if your potassium's really low, that's not going to help. Her potassium was really low because she'd been under chronic stress.
Yeah.
when you're under chronic stress, your body dumps potassium. Because if you're under acute stress, your body holds on to it. Goes, oh, we need that because it's going to speed us up. But if you've been going, your body's like, I can't keep up doing this. My main job is homeostasis, balance. I'm going to dump this. So her potassium was really low. So we boosted her. We gave her some adrenal herbs to help calm her adrenals, but then also replenish them. Gave her that, also some DHEA supplements as well. What was the other thing? It's called, I'm going blank. It's like a seaweed. Oh my gosh. I can't remember what it's called now.
Not the CMOS stuff? Or...
No, it wasn't CMOS. It's not CMOS. It's basically really high in beta keratin. Okay. That's the purpose of it. So that was supplementally what we did, but then also in terms of, okay, how are you caring for your blood sugars, avoiding naked carbs in her day.
What does that look like? Like, you mean just like straight bread by itself?
Or like an apple by itself.
Right.
Like, it can be a great carb for you, but if it's just a carb by itself, what I wanted to do is just level out her blood sugars across the day. So prioritizing fats and proteins, and ideally from good sources. That was the ideal. For women, carbohydrates can be really helpful. Particularly it helps with the kisspeptin receptors, it's called, or the hormones there. But yeah, for her, she didn't have any weight issues and she didn't have any major like insulin resistance or anything, where I was concerned that I wanted to get her into ketosis, but I wanted to reduce her fluctuations in her blood sugars. Some people, I do want to get them into ketosis, but not for her. And then in terms of nervous system, she was doing a pretty good job at caring for her nervous system already, but it was just really helping her prioritize that pleasure and play. And coming from, she had a bit of a religious background as well. So she had some tendencies towards going into some shame and guilt, but she was aware of that. So we helped her like come from a loving place in what she was doing and having more self-compassion. So that was, the main things that we did. And she just consistently did them. It doesn't like, it's like, oh, what? That's all you did? It's like, that's actually when you just give the body what it needs.
I know. Health is
really
simple.
Yeah.
It's fucking simple. It's just like you just got to cut shit out and wait, let the body heal.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I guess the thing to finish on is like, what's one piece of advice you can give to all the female and I guess guys, but listening right now that you feel like would really help?
That I haven't already. The spaciousness, and like that's always a given. One thing I would say is just like the practicing of listening to your body, what we started with. But it can be, if I was saying like the sparkling water and the still water, you could like take that internally and going, you need to go to the toilet, go to the toilet. You're thirsty, drink water. Like actually just pay attention to the little natural urges that your body is going to have. Oh, you start yawning, you're tired, and it's not, don't push through and watch another episode of a show on Netflix or like whatever you're doing. Go to bed. Like your body is signaling these things. And if you're like, I don't know what that is, or because some people are so detached. Like I know for me, when I worked as a chiropractor, I would be like seeing patients back to back and I'd be like, oh, I need to go to the toilet, but I don't want to run late, or all these things. And then I'd look up, the clock would be 2 hours later. I'd be thinking, I need to go to the toilet 2 hours ago. And I've just like completely disassociated from that feeling in my body. So if you're unsure of that and you feel quite disassociated, go, what does a toddler need? If you're looking after a toddler, what would they need? Just do that. Literally. A toddler, they're cracking the shits. Why? Oh, well, maybe they have a pooey nappy or they need to go to the toilet. Or like, okay, well, make sure that's taken care of. Maybe they're hungry. Are you hungry? Maybe do that. Are they tired? Okay, do that. Have they played? Have they got connection and cuddles and been outside? That's like, it's really basic, but just do those things. And listen to those urges of your body and follow through. And like literally so many things improve. It's not that, oh my gosh, I saw this on my Instagram, so that's what I need to do. It's like maybe, but just do this stuff first.
Go
do
simple.
The fundamental stuff first.
That's nice.
I love that.
That's nice.
That's so like on our philosophy as well.
Yeah, it's just like connecting to that inner wisdom, God, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, source. The other day I tapped into that for a little bit. I was probably there for about 20 seconds.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm God.
Yes, you
like
are.
it makes you feel so powerful. Like,
you literally have the choice to change everything and anything at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
So we are our own God.
Dude, and I caught myself, there was like crumbs near the toaster, and I caught myself walking away from it, and I stopped, and I was like, nah, like just do it gracefully. Have you heard of the Alexander technique before?
No.
I'm sort of like touching on it a little bit lately with the way I work, but it's basically, it's like, it's an old school thing back like Feldenkrais times, where it's like, there's a gracefulness through movement and whatever it is, right? So like when we walk, like, okay, here's an example. I put a video up recently of this woman I'm working with a shoulder impingement. And when she lifts her arm overhead, the whole scapula will wing on the way back down. So it's not even a weakness. It's like it's a brain to body connection, the way she's using her shoulder, because its muscles work better eccentrically. So really it shouldn't happen on the way down. And it does. It usually happens on the return, these dysfunctions. And basically what she's doing is she's using too many muscles to lift her arm. Right? So she's using the adductors actually that is sort of bracing, which shouldn't really be bracing there, to lift the arm overhead, especially when there's no weight in the arm. And I go to her like, have you done a lot of overhead lifting? And she's like, yeah, I used to just do so much like CrossFit style overhead lifting. And this is where I'm getting into Shirley Salmon's work, where she's like, you got to get people to just like, after they do things like that, make sure they just lift their arm up and down without weight, like gracefully. So they're not actually bracing. And now you can catch yourself doing this. Like sometimes I realize that I've even done that. Like I've lifted my arm to grab the top glass, and then I thought, is there a better way of doing that? And this is fully my dad, by the way. This is like how I grew up. But it's so funny how I'm coming back to your parents' day. But then I like, oh, actually I can relax the arm more and I can still get the arm there, and it's less energy for me to get my arm through space. Okay. So there's a gracefulness you can do. Go for a walk. Like, actually, how am I walking? Like, am I walking just not even thinking about the way I'm walking? And usually you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
But when you think about, like, is there a better way of doing this? Like, am I actually using too much energy? And you realize, oh, there is. Like, I can actually get from there A to B probably using less energy than how I have been doing it. And so there's a gracefulness attached to movement. But then you can do that gracefulness with everything in life. And that's what I think about when I wipe that crumbs, usually because it's slow.
Yeah.
I'm a bit fast, so I don't want to stop and wipe the crumbs. I got to do this shit, you know? I got to fucking do this. But I realized, just stop, grab the thing, wipe it down, and then move on. And it felt so good, man.
Yeah, that's nice.
It didn't feel like a chore.
Yeah.
And back to that power now, you're doing the dishes. Fuck, I hate doing these dishes. But then think, how well can I do these dishes?
Fully, hey.
Yeah.
And how well can I lift the weight? How well can I lunge? How well can I talk to the person? How well can I make the girl smile that's handing me coffee? You know, like there's all these little things that create just a glow in your life that brings things to you from the universe.
It's like a lion energy, right?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
why we call that product king and queen, because that's sort of another way of doing it. Like when you talk about driving the queen, how does a queen move? A queen, if you would picture the archetype, it's through grace. And there's a gracefulness to it. And it's like they're doing so much without trying so hard to do it. That's sort of the feeling, the energy I get from the queen archetype or the king archetype. It's just tapping into that as much as you can, and then as a way to almost bring an awareness to your mind of how am I acting right now? What choices am I creating? And what am I manifesting on a day-to-day basis, unconsciously and subconsciously? Well, it's the same word, subconsciously, unconsciously.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's crazy what we manifest without thinking, why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all
Well, you're manifesting whether you know it or not, whether you're doing it intentionally or not.
I know.
Yeah.
And how fun is manifesting intentionally and then it happens?
Oh,
It's ridiculous.
it's awesome.
It's ridiculous. It's like a big game these days.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like I've written down things, got it, and then realize, oh, I didn't write down this. I needed to add this, you know? Have you ever it's happened to me a few times now. I've wrote down even like a female, type of female to come into my life. Within 3 months, exactly that female comes in my life. And then I realized, fuck, I didn't write these two things down. That matters. It matters a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
Got to start again. And then you write the two things down. Another one comes in your life that has those two things. But then this is where the awareness comes into play. And you got to say, actually sit, be still and be like, all right, what am I actually looking for? So it's not just like this little unconscious manifestation.
Fully,
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just get stuck in the loop of going, but they're not this and they're not this.
I
and they're
know.
not this.
You keep adding to the list and it's 100 things and you're like, oh, it's not it.
Yeah.
Why
It's
do I feel
interesting.
it's numb?
A couple of weeks ago, I went to it was like this business event that was in Brisbane. when I left, I was like, oh, this is really good. And I was like, oh, but I just feel like really, I felt actually quite agitated because I'm like, oh, it really signified that how I was doing things in my business and what I was building, I'm like, I don't actually want to do that. Like that's out of alignment. But I was just in the like, okay, just like get these things done, do the things. I'm like, I wasn't listening to the internal, like this feels out of alignment, but I actually don't know what else to do. So I'm just going to do this. And then I'm like, nah, okay, I can't do this. I'm literally going to wipe everything from my calendar this week and I'm just going to sit. And I did this exercise where I carry around my it's like a A3 notebook, like art book. I just like brainstorm and write stuff in it all the time. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit here and I am going to pretend like I'm an alien and I've been dropped down into the world. And I don't know who my parents are. I don't have any degrees. I don't have any thoughts. Like, how can I like clear my mind? I'm like, I literally don't know anything other than what I can see in the world. It's like, okay, well, what do I think the world needs? Like, okay, what do I like doing? What am I good at? Like all these things. So it's adding. And at the end of it, after the week, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I feel so much clearer. I have this internal alignment. I was like, okay, what do I want to manifest? Like, what do I want to call in? It's like, oh, I really want to meet someone that's in tech and AI, and I really want to meet a holistic GP, someone that's open GP. That was like one of the examples. And then the next day, I had a friend's birthday, and I had a busy morning. I'm like, oh, I can't really be bothered going to this lunch, but you know what? I'm going to go. Who do I meet there?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm my friend's friend. I'm an integrative GP. And like, I love what you do and all the things. And I'm like, oh, it's amazing. She's like, oh, you have to meet my partner. He's in tech and AI. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you actually kidding me?
Yeah.
So it was like literally like the day after I was like, this is what I want. And then it just like came into my life. And then from that, he's just like, I'll come to this. And now I've met like all these other people. I'm like, this is so amazing. Right. So it's just like, actually just stop, get still. You're not in a rush. Like, oh, I have to. It's like, just what do you actually want? Like, what do you actually need?
That's
and then
so
get clear on
true.
that. And then it like drops in. It was awesome.
So did you bring to a level of stillness to think that? Did you meditate and then you're like, I need to meet this sort of vibe, or is that how that comes in?
It was a week long. It was a week long sort of process, and it was hard for me in the beginning to be like, okay, I know there's these things that need to be still going for my life to still operate and the business to still operate, but I'm in charge. No one's holding a gun to my head telling me I have to do these things. I can do whatever I want. So, okay, I'm going to take this time. I'm going to take as long as I need to get like everything out of my head. And I just like literally wrote. And then I was like, okay, I'd look at it at the end of the day and go, where's the pattern? What's the pattern in this? Okay, here's some common threads. Oh, okay, yeah, that feels good. How does that feel? That feels really true. Like that's like triggering something in me. Okay, it's that. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Like that's fluff. So it was just like almost like brain dumping. It's like this week-long meditation brainstorming session, I suppose. And then, yeah, at the end of it, I'm like, oh, okay, if I actually put on like, this feels good, logical brain, what would be the next step for this? What would be amazing if life could offer it up? Okay, it would be that. And then it did. So
I feel like this is a point right now, because yesterday I keep getting like a calling to write a book, and I've been writing down chapters, and then but I'm writing down so many now that I think it's going to be 2 books, and then I was like, I need to talk to someone that's wrote a book. So last bit of advice before we wrap it up is, was writing the book a really big challenge? Was that like how did that happen? Did it happen like over years, or did you lock in for like weeks and get it done, or did you just chip away, or did you write the chapters then write on? Like, how'd you do that?
Yeah, I don't think there's, speaking to other authors now that are in my life, everyone does it in a different way. So I don't think there's one right way to do it.
ChatGPT?
Pardon?
I was going to say
ChatGPT. No. I didn't use ChatGPT. I don't think, well, it was a thing, but it wasn't like as big as it is now. When I was writing my book. I had a lovely editor, Nat. She's like amazing. I said she's like a book, because a lot of people say when you write a book, it's like giving birth to something. And I'm like, she really felt like a midwife for my book. She was amazing. But my book came about because there was literally, in the space of speaking about like manifestation and like messages from the universe, in the space of about 2 weeks, I had 10 different people in different areas of my life, whether they were a patient or a sister's friend or a cousin or whatever, say, you should write a book. Have you thought about writing a book? I'm like,
there you go.
What? It was crazy. And then a publisher reached out to me. I'm like, what?
Whoa,
Okay.
okay.
So then I had a meeting with them, and I sort of self-published and published. It's a bit of a weird combination, but we can chat about it off air if you want. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll do this. Like there was this inkling that beforehand, or I'm like, oh, I could write a book like that. Like that feels really good. Like I really would want people to understand this in the world. So it was already sort of percolating, and then it just sort of came into my life. But in terms of, was it hard? I found it hard, but I also moved. I was studying functional medicine at the same time, quit my very high paying, stable job, started a business at the same time. So I was a bit stressed. It was probably a bit silly to do everything that I was doing at the same time. But I love, like, yeah, it's an incredible experience to go through. I'd highly recommend it to anyone that feels called to write one.
Did it feel like the moment it was published and you had one in your hand, was that like a surreal feeling of like, whoa, this is so much work and time and effort and brain power, and it's here now, and I got a bit of a legacy to leave to the world?
Yeah, it did. It does feel like that. The thing that actually really solidified it for me was reading my audiobook. Like, because I reread the book and edits and whatever. I don't even know how many times, like probably 12 times. And then the final way I edited was me reading it and recording that. So that was really cool, because you also sort of like perform it at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, it has to be your
Not just
voice.
reading in your head, like you actually like have to, like you feel it. You feel all the words. So that was really surreal. And then also when it was in airports, I think it still is in airports, but it's like, because that was this weird sort of feeling as a young kid. I hated reading, I hated speaking, hated English. And I'm like, this is so crazy what I do for work. I do a lot of things, but I've written a book and I speak. I'm like, this is like insane. My English teacher would be like, what, Anthea, are you serious?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was seeing it in the airport, because when I was younger, going through airports as a kid, I'd be like, I just had this feeling. It wasn't like a conscious thought, but it was a feeling of like, oh, one day I'm going to see my book there, like in an airport. It was something to do with an airport bookstore. And then when I signed on with the publisher, it's like, oh, don't hold that like as a goal, because it's really hard and difficult. You know, there's like, they have their bookshelf to have to sell books on, so they only want like the top ones. And I was like, okay. But I don't really care what you're going to say, because I know it's going to be there. Like I've already seen it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. And then like a month after it was published, she goes, yeah, the airports have it in stock now. I was like,
So good.
so cool.
There
Like
you
it
go.
was, yeah. So if you feel like there's something inside you that wants to come out, that's the best place to write a book from.
Gabor
Absolutely.
Mate. Do you know Gabor Mate?
Yeah, I love him.
It was, remember that thing where they were like, he wanted to write a book, and then his mentor goes to him, don't worry, he goes, you'll write a book when you have something to teach the world.
Yeah.
And he goes, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's such a cool. Well,
So good.
thanks for coming on. Really appreciate your time. It was sharing your wisdom. And for people to get a hold of you, work with you, what's all the plugs?
So you can find me on Instagram at dr.Anthea Todd, and then my website is femalefundamentals.com.au.
And they can buy the book through the website?
Yep, they can buy it through the website. You can get it on Audible, Spotify, there's Kindle, there's Amazon. It's like on everywhere you can find a book.
And the title of the book again, one more time?
What's My Body Telling Me?
What's My Body Telling Me? That's
So good.
That's sick.
Yeah.
The catchphrase is, your body isn't the problem, it's the solution. So it's,
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, thanks again for coming on. We'll put it all out there for you. And really appreciate it. Love chatting to you.
Thanks so much for having me, boys.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Bye.